Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to a live stream of Hearthstone. Today is Wednesday, November 7th. We have gotten 6 extra packs because there are now over, I believe it was 100 million registered users who have played Hearthstone. And so they gave us 6 packs from, what set is that actually? Come to think of it, let's go in here. The Boomsday Project set, so 6 of the newest packs where I guess I could spend some money on pre-ordering some of these other things too. And the Welcome Bundle also came back, whereas I imagine the Frozen Throne pack will soon be no longer available for purchase. We've also got a Celebrate the Players Challenge a friend to a game in any mode that is a special daily quests. And it seems like there's 4 other special Celebrate the Players quests. So this is gonna put a weird spin on things. Let's start with let's see, we could maybe hold out for Tragic and see if he's preparing the battle people. I think that's what everybody is going to be doing today. And we might as well just start with opening these packs. It'll be interesting, I suppose, to see if what the level of new cards we get are in the Boomsday expansion, because I really didn't buy too many Boomsday cards. I guess on my main accounts I bought more than I did in my European or Asian account, because honestly still trying to get to the point where I have every basic card on the European and Asian account, and I'm still missing like 1 legendary on my main account. We're not getting super lucky here. So, there's a question here, I guess, about by giving 6 packs of Boomsday cards to newer players, are new players being more advantaged than older players? Probably not. In Hearthstone, it's kind of impossible to advantage newer players. There's an epic at least. I was hoping for a legendary, because older players have all the cards, and if they have duplicates, they're just going to get dust, and dust will certainly help. Yeah. No legendary though. Of course, my other 2 accounts will also have 6 cards. It should, at least. So let's take a look here. It says I have 1 new card. Really, the game is glitched. So 28, which tells me that, well, 29, 7 plus 22 would be 29, and there were 6 cards and 5 in each pack, so that should have been 30. So maybe they finally did update the way this database works, and it's no longer just a horrible mess of glitching out, and it really is only going to show the new cards and ignore the old ones. So yeah, I have a second copy of that epic. Let's see, let's just quickly look and see what we could have gotten, because I bet it's not too much. As far as cards that are missing in the Boomsday expansion, we have some legendaries and epics. Epics and legendaries. 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 This really shows that there's a imbalance on how many epics and legendaries that they added to this expansion. It's pretty ridiculous. Here, like, there's 11 pages of epics and legendaries I'm missing, and 2 golden cards that could be disenchanted and turned into the regular cards, but I don't want to do that. Let's see. Now let's come over here and see if anybody might have been done. Nope. Not gonna be that lucky. We also have the Tavern Brawl to deal with. So, hoping this is super easy. Murlocs have taken over the tavern. Choose a class and get a deck with random class spells and a whole mess of Murlocs. My other daily quests are play 15 minions that cost 5 or more. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Alright, well, Murlocs, then to combine with Murlocs, you could play Shaman, or I could play Warlock. I'll just play Warlock, a Murloc Warlock deck. Let's see. I'm scrolling up my Twitter feed just to see if there's any new news. And then I guess we'll just start covering the news. I don't want this to be a super long experience today, but it could be slightly longer. We started pretty well. I didn't record an episode earlier today because because I spent so much time yesterday recording games starting with the letter S. So much so that in post I had to add a couple of clips to say, look, I'm just going to break up this video into 2 parts because it was a pretty sure 9-hour video. It doesn't make a lot of sense that people would actually watch a 9-hour video in a row. So yeah, S is going to be broken up, T will be broken up. In retrospect, it feels like I missed a lot of games too, and I'm not 100% sure how that happened, but I imagine it was my plugin that doesn't allow for duplicate tabs. I think I probably opened tabs that were already in existence, and that moved me around, and I skipped over a few games. But that's fine. We made a lot of progress on the wishlist in general. In 2020, when I come back and look at the wishlist again, or if I do some of that, look at the wishlist a little bit off screen, I'll be fine. Everything will work just fine. I don't remember playing this. Oh, I guess everybody just has Unleash the Murlocs enabled. Let's see. Yeah, but S's in particular, super long. If I play this, I can then play this. I wonder if I could have played that for health and filled up my hand. That would have been cool. And see, they've changed this, right? Your other Murlocs have +2 attack. Yeah, it used to be all Murlocs have +2 attack, and they changed that like a year ago. Let's see. There is one story, I guess I might as well just cover at the beginning here because it's from an offhand news source that that I don't usually follow, and I won't remember to talk about it if I don't mention it now. There's this game that's been trying to get on Steam. It's called The Key to Home. It was banned before Steam's anti-censorship rules went into place, and then it got back on Steam, and it seems like it has been banned again. Now, this might have been that it just got flagged and then got removed without anybody looking at it, or it might very well be the case that there is a problematic issue with the game The Key to Home, and the developer is being disingenuous about what is in the content and what the intention is. From seeing the screenshots, the Key to Home does seem like it has anime girls who look way younger than even what is standard for anime stories. The creator says there's actually no sexual content in it or anything like that, and in fact it's a message that's actually against virtual anime pedophilia, whatever. Job done. But the art style itself does draw, from the screenshots I see, draw really young kids, and they are young kids in high fashion clothing, skirts, spaghetti strap tops, things like that. It just goes beyond even what I think at first step. It just doesn't feel like it passes the smell test. Now, there have been many incidences, and this may very well be an incident, where you have an artist who just has a lewd way of drawing, and they're sneaking things in where the story and the actual intent of the game is not really that. We've seen that in older Disney things too. Let's see if we can challenge a friend. Darn it, Miss Tragic Master again. Well, so that is potentially a one strike against Steam and what they claimed they were gonna do, but it's not horrible from my perspective. Like, Steam really didn't come out and say that as a company they were firmly solid anti-censorship and that they were going to allow everything and anything possible whatsoever. They are definitely coming more from a perspective of half the employees are conflicted. It may be that there is a actual high up employee that has a game that has something specifically against this game just from the screenshots, or perhaps they've played it and they know more and the developers is lying. Or it could be that it just got flagged and it's getting flagged and targeted by people that don't like it. I guess at this point we need to do the monster hunt bosses. Let's try that. Let's get that out of the way. They're certainly in the United States' history, in the early 1900s and 20s, were I guess maybe you'd call it grooming material, or just books, articles, picture books that were not of anything that would explicitly cross the line to be illegal, but were very disconcerting just in focus. And the game, kind of from the screenshots I see, also seems that way. this is a story that has not been covered and probably won't be covered by any of the other mainstream media as far as I've seen, which is a shame. I wish they'd cover more actual news. Because if this game was investigative, somebody would bite the bullet and play it completely, and they could cite incidences, and they could say what actually is said in this game, what actually is shown in this game, because all I've seen is screenshots. This is the problem also with like Omega Labyrinth Z or Omega Labyrinth Z and it getting banned in the UK, is that everybody just kind of dances around it and you don't get any details, so you don't know, is this some SJW exaggeration where it's not really anywhere as bad as it's being implied to be, or is this really awful, undefensible, horrible things? I guess in the end though, the idea of protecting free speech is about protecting distasteful speech as much as any other kind of speech. And so if this game that has now twice been kicked off of Steam is just detestable speech, which it very well might be, or just detestable art style with too lewd of a focus in how it animates things, that if as long as it's not really breaking any laws, it should be allowed if you believe in protecting free speech. And I very much want to do that, and I very much want to always be a supporter of free speech. And it's really easy to accidentally become the voice of censorship, even if you didn't intend for that to be the case. So you always have to be a little bit vigilant there. What can I do? Could play this, or I could do this, and this, and let's see, we'll do this, and attack here. I don't remember the story, but I was listening to not even this week's Bombcast. I think it was last week's Bombcast, because I'm so far behind at this level. And it was like the post show to the Bombcast, the giant Bombcast. And somebody asked them a question about an actual news story that had happened several days before, and the people on the post show goes, "Oh, I didn't read that article, I don't know, like I haven't done any research on that." I'm like, wait a minute, you're supposed to be video game journalists, you should be up on the news. It's kind of ridiculously awful. Let's see, can I deal 1 damage to all minions by doing this? Deal this. I'm the monster. Deal this. Play this. And go ahead and kill that. And attack here. Excuse me, sorry. Alright, well, defend the gates. Moving on, we have a game on Steam called Way Down, which doesn't look like it's much of a game as far as visual polish. May have zoomed in the monitor a little bit too much there. How much is this? $2.69, yeah. Yeah, this one's not making it to the follow list. I do have this growing concern with the follow list where I'm afraid it's going to get bigger and bigger than it should be. And by this time next year, when I'm doing the end of the year 2019 follow list cleanup, the list will just be super long.
Defend the gates.
Yeah, that's what I want it to be. As far as the zoom. Gain attack equal to your weapon. Extra things there. I could deal 8 damage to all minions, but I don't see a real reason to. Could just see if we can steal. Steal some cards.
The monster.
There we go. I'm gonna see if also I'm gonna try and break up this stream. We've been doing a lot of streams that have been like 2-3 hours long, and that's not something I want to keep as a consistent issue. Let's see. All right, charge, attack, play cards, attack, win. So that's one of 3 needed to be done. Let's come back over here and let's see if we can spectate Tragic and see how far he is in his game. Tragic has just started, and let's spectate. See, the whole idea of this celebration is to get more people online and celebrate and playing together, and perhaps forgetting how bad it went at BlizzCon. Yeah, this guy actually might be close to the end because he's gonna do a constant Shudder Walk combination. He's just gonna keep on playing Shudder Walk until either this guy runs out of health, runs out of cards, or something. He's filling his deck with bombs, and I would guess the bombs are going to cause him to die. Interesting, and this guy's at rank 13, and I think he works his way up to legendary usually.
My jaws that bite, my claws that catch.
And see, this is really just a time situation of just how long is this gonna take. It seems like there's no battle cry that Shudderwalk is doing that actually causes him to draw cards. So what's gonna happen is he's just gonna have so many cards in his deck that are bombs that'll just draw one, and I assume the bomb reads you do something. When you draw one bomb, you draw a new card, so it could be an infinite loop of bombs. It's kind of boring. It's kind of boring to watch, though, certainly. Alright, while we're waiting for this to happen and see, it seems like nothing is happening right now.
A path
dimly lit.
Like, we'll look at this game.
My jaws that bite.
The other guy's playing Shuttle Walks too. Interesting. Shuttle Walk versus Shuttle Walk. They're both playing the same meta deck, I would guess.
My jaws that bite. My claws that
Well, we have this game called Titan Slayer on Steam. It might be interesting. Now, this character I'm fairly certain I've seen before, so it's probably an asset, but that doesn't mean this is an asset flip game immediately. Looks alright, although I'm not getting a real great look on what kind of game it is, other than it says it's VR. I'm gonna watch this video and see how this game actually plays. Titan Slayer 2, which I assume there's been a Titan Slayer 1, and that would help me make a decision here. Yeah, this kind of seems like it's an on-rails shooter style game. Doesn't look horrible as a game, but it's probably not amazingly good either.
Perplexing.
Let's see. Titan Slayer 1, in comparison, is rated very positive with what I believe is 86% of 87 reviews positive. Not terribly bad. And Titan Slayer 1 also requires VR. So I'm just gonna say it here and not put it on the fall list that these Titan Slayer games look like they might be worth playing if you have VR, but they don't look like they're actually worth playing. Let's see. They don't look that good in general circumstances. Well, good enough to stay on the follow list, since I kind of know I'm not gonna buy a VR headset. This is incredibly long turns, and this is definitely a problem with Hearthstone, where you're just playing the same strategy over and over again, and you've played all your cards, and nobody is willing to just move the game forward and win. It's just tit for tat. It's like tennis, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, forever. See, I was thinking this would end really quickly, but it's not. And I imagine people get really bored of hearing that same call sign. So 15 amongst all the minions, bloodlust. If you could just get a bunch of Shutterwalks on the field, just play this, and this all on the field, and then next turn hopefully play bloodlust twice. You might be able to win just that way. Next we have a game on Steam called Punk EX29. It says it's an action game. It looks halfway there towards like a AA game, but then the other half part seems to be really low quality. So, like, again, this might be assets that are bringing up the level of quality as far as the vision. Yeah, this definitely does look like it's an asset flip game. Now, flying around in a spacesuit shooting things doesn't sound like a terrible thought if done right. Although there are some AAA games that are attempting to make games very much like that, and it still doesn't look interesting. Yeah, this game is not going to make it to the follow list. This is still just going on, and I have half a thought of leaving. Yes, and the developer of Punk EX 2093 have not made anything else, so they don't really have any credibility. Your minions do random legendary minions. I mean, what else can you do? He set up some kind of thing that has just caused it to not work. You could try and play this, and you can play a bunch of these, and then you can't play that anymore. GameIndustry.biz has an article, Capcom considering more cloud games despite Resident Evil shortcomings. The streamed Switch version of the horror hit did not have a significant impact on earnings, but the publisher still sees promise in the technology. So this is an interesting little answer to one of those questions that very possibly would have never gotten an answer, and it's kind of surprising that they even mentioned it in there. I assume it was a Capcom shareholders meeting. It definitely was questionable whether the Japan-only Resident Evil 7 Switch streamed version would sell well or make any sense. I guess in Japan, everybody has probably cell phone unlimited internet at very high speeds. That would be my guess, is what their situation is. So there's less technical problems, whereas in the United States people have very varied internet speeds, and some people have really good internet and 90% of the people have very bad internet speeds, so streaming doesn't make sense. Inherently, you have to assume Capcom has invested in whatever company or technology was developed or acquired to stream these games, so they want to keep on going down that route. They don't want to admit fully and completely that it was a failure of a launch and that there was literally no good side to be seen. See, apparently, as long as this guy has his hand full, the mines aren't getting drawn. And because the mines aren't getting drawn, he's not taking damage, which is stretching this game out to be way longer. He could have won right there, I'm pretty sure. If he had... No, he would have been 6 shorter. I guess he could try to evolve this guy some more, but I don't think you could evolve him into anything that has charge, so that wouldn't really work. Let's see. Next, there's a game on Steam from a known troll, Ghost Rust Games, Ghost_RUS, as in I assume Russian games, is still on Steam. It's been at least half a year that they've put these games on Steam, and they have not been kicked off. Is it just because they don't do anything incredibly awful? I don't know. Like, I guess maybe that's it. because there's a lot of games under their name that they've come out with. Let's see. And that gets back to the thought of, do you just let these people pay that $100 fee? So yeah, as soon as he played a card, that's when he ran into trouble. Yeah, do you just drain the $100 Steam Greenlight or Steam Direct fee from a developer like that, or a troll developer? Come on, don't. There we go. Oh, you suck. You suck. Well, that was a waste of time. Total waste of time. Let's see, where is Tragic over here? Yeah, Tragic's in the middle of his own battle, so unless he can win really fast here.
Job done.
Like, Tragic might be able to win if he can play this before they kill this, which might be possible. And he could even get it up to 64. Yeah, he has this spell to do this.
You like to play with fire? Who knows what secrets will uncover?
There is something slightly weird going on with Steam's midweek madness sale. As I looked at it, logged into my account, you have the average expected type of games on sale. Like, I believe Witcher 3's on sale, things like that. Just your standard video games. But then also on the front page, on the main. Well, not on the front page, but on one click away from the front page, when you click the Midweek Madness button, and it takes you to a special Midweek Madness page, there's a lot of very low effort hentai games on sale and getting promoted. Come on, there we go. No. I should just start requesting standard games, by the way. Just gonna play Murloc. Don't get to play Murloc that often. We just have to challenge a friend. We don't have to win. And yeah, it's not like they're putting the good lewd sex games on sale. It's the really low effort bad ones. So I don't know if Steam is doing a bit of an experiment here, or if Steam is getting some sales before they decide to change their mind and kick all of those games off of Steam, or what, or like, and I'm not 100% sure Steam knows what it's doing, because Steam corporations aren't people, to coin a phrase, and they are instead organizations of many people with conflicting ideas, opinions, and thoughts. But it seems rather weird. Could also be some actual admittance and realization that even the very low effort troll lewd sex games sell. And if they sell, Valve wants that money. But that's also kind of weird, because then, like, anything on sale right now is in a slight weird position, because you have to question, does that mean it's not going to be on sale in the Black Friday fall Steam sale? when things are expected to be really discounted? Or does it mean that these games might very well be even more discounted than they are right now? Generally speaking, if something is on sale right now, I would expect it's not going to be discounted for the fall sale. If anything, it's going to be the opposite. Things might be more expensive. Alright. How do we want to play this? Guess we'll play it like that. Moving on, TechRaptor has an article, Red Dead Redemption 2 review, The Wild Wild West Part 2. You really don't need to hear TechRaptor's review of Red Dead Redemption 2 at this point. Everybody knows it's a pretty good game. It's something that everybody constantly wants to play. They gave it a 9.5 amazing. What else is there really even say about it? Like, I would say personally on PC, since if Red Dead Redemption 2 comes to PC, which it very well might, I'm not super sold that I'm really motivated to play it. In a lot of ways, it feels a lot like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, where there's hype about it, but the actual game is mostly just open world grindiness. And I'm not hearing people coming out and saying that it's an amazingly good story, being a prequel to Red Dead Redemption 1. I am hearing a lot of people calling Red Dead Redemption 1 the first Red Dead game, which is not correct, because there was Red Dead Revolver, at least before that, if not some others. But yeah, I do want to play Red Dead Redemption 2 and 1 if I can on PC at some point. But also, it feels like a Halo game. At some point, I would like to cover and play Halo 1, but it could always be at the bottom of the priorities list. And that priorities list is going to be a little bit longer because I did spend $12 on a Humble Bundle to get several games that looked very appealing, like Minute and Ukulele and a couple more. So at least for next year, I'm a little bit better equipped, although maybe for December, I doubt it though. It would be kind of crazy to try and squeeze in any more recording for December. Let's hit that. The summary from TechRaptor says Red Dead Redemption 2 is an incredible achievement in open world game design. It's dense, massive, and beautiful. People who give this game the time and patience it needs will find Rockstar's most ambitious, best written, and most well realized game to date. I would say compared to GTA, if it was down to do you want to play GTA, the latest GTA or the latest Red Dead game, I would take Red Dead. Just because I don't want to play as someone who is so horribly a bad guy throughout the entirety of their story, as it seems GTA is mostly about in the story parts. TechRaptor's pros are an incredible presentation, more grounded characters, less over-the-top caricatures, massively dense game, hugely engrossing world, fantastic execution of eyes. Cons are slow pacing and deliberate controls won't be for everyone. The PS4 Pro performance can get choppy. Let's see. You play this. I would have had one more card if I had played that first. Red Dead Redemption also kind of feels like Skyrim. And as somebody who relatively recently played Skyrim again, all the way through, I don't think I could open my heart to playing another game that is like Skyrim. It's just so open-ended and ridiculous. Let's see. So you have to challenge like 5 friends. Treasure Master came on the chat and said, "Good game, thanks." I'm just gonna challenge him again. Well, see, and that's just gonna be incredibly annoying for people, because you're gonna have people like me who are gonna try and get Tragic to play me 5 different times. But then if that doesn't work and you have to actually challenge 5 separate friends, that too could be almost an impossibility. We'd have to start just randomly friending people on the main account, because in at least a year and a half, I have not had 5 people logged in at the same time that I was logged in on Steam, well, on Battle.net. Let's see. Tragic Master says, "I only have the one standard deck." Well, you could borrow one of mine if you want. And Lemon Lover said, "Agreed, good game."
Job's done.
Let's try to play really fast. See, and that's why I was challenging people on wild games, but then it seemed like it was disadvantaging people who would play on wild decks. But I guess maybe I should go back to that and challenge wild. Gemetsu has an article. Square Enix acquires 20% stake in Bulkhead Entertainment. A new intellectual property is in development. This is the studio behind the game The Turing Test and Battalion 1994. And if I'm recalling correctly, the Turing Test is like a 3D puzzle game. Kind of like a slightly inspired by Portal clone game. And Battalion 1994, I imagine this is a military game. Let's see what it looks like. Battalion 1994 came out in February 1st of 2018. It's early access and it's mostly negative. So people really didn't like that game. And the Turing Test, on the other hand, people were very positive of. It came out a little bit earlier. So it seems like what has occurred, if I was to guess, is that Bulkhead Entertainment ran out of money to develop any more games. They had one success and then they had one failure, and so Square Enix has invested in it. Square Enix does seem like they get investments or get their claws into smaller companies. I don't know if they as quickly devour those companies and leave them as carcasses as some other video game sources. Square Enix is also like the publisher of the Life is Strange series of games. But yeah, Square Enix is kind of a weird one too. I guess what they work from is the concept or the idea of proper Square Enix games are going to be the Japanese, the Final Fantasy games, and then they're going to take their profits from things like Final Fantasy and than invest in some other companies to make some more money. Let's see. Tragic Master put on the chat, Lemon, you want to play Rydo? Question mark. Yeah, sure. If Lemon Lover wants to friend me and play me on the Americas account, I haven't seen Lemon Lover actually logged in, or he just never friended me. I'm scrolling down here. Unless I accidentally removed him, or he has a very different login. Yeah, this. I haven't seen Lemon Lover online, but here's my Battle.net ID. If you want to friend me and play me, I'm more than happy to do that. Good thing I realized that I needed to play that in the right order, otherwise that wouldn't have worked at all. Let's see. Lemon Lover says, I haven't opened or played Hearthstone since the early days. I mainly watch Rydo play instead. Maybe I'll try to get my login info soon and start up again. Yeah, I wonder how many people are out there that are exactly like that, where they'd prefer just to watch somebody else play Hearthstone. Particularly since, even though almost all of my cards are free to play, I think I, on my main account, bought one welcome bundle, and that's the only actual money I've ever put into it. I still have way more cards, I imagine, than most people do, just because I, as a YouTuber, have a lot more time, whereas everybody else has to either go to school or work. This is my work, and so with that extra time I've been able to do daily quests, get the gold, get more cards, and I'm just further along than most, but still not really that far along in the grand scheme. Let's see, we could do this, we could do this, and then that, and then that. We could play it safe, I guess. And then the turn. If Square Enix owns 20% of Bulkhead Entertainment, not knowing who else owns some percentages of Bulkhead Entertainment, Square Enix could be very quickly become the majority share owner if the other 80% is split between many other people. Let's see, victory, and then victory that way, and then victory that way, and victory that way. Let's see, and that's another 100 gold. Are these giving gold to Tragic? I would assume they are, but I really don't know. What is the quickest deck I have? Probably something like Zoo Warlock. Like, the hope would be that this is just spreading 100 gold rewards to both players, and so we've throughout these challenges given you're getting and giving 500 gold, which means more card packs to open when the next expansion happens, which I wouldn't be surprised if the next expansion happens a lot earlier than it seems like you would guess. If they told me it was coming out, say, in 2 weeks, I really wouldn't be surprised. And that's going to be a nightmare because I really don't want to take the extra time to make these extra Hearthstone videos, but I really have no choice. The Hearthstone videos still are the most successful videos that my channel's ever done, in general. Although, somebody did manage to see my awful Kerbal Space Program, one of my awful Kerbal Space Program videos, and put a nasty comment on it, and I was just like, well, I'm not even gonna bother to respond to that. Like, at a certain point, I think I will have to make the decision to just literally hide those videos. Let's do this.
In the light's name.
Tragic Master says they would, but I did the request right before you played me, so I don't get the extras.
Is someone injured?
That sucks. And that sucks real bad. I would have thought you could have gotten extra regardless. Just always. It kind of goes in the opposite direction of what the whole reward is supposed to do, is build up hype. I mean, even if there was like a hard limit and it said you could only get 1,500 gold, that would still be something. Tragic Master says, I got my 500. Smiley face. Let's see.
Is someone
We have a
injured?
game on Steam called Transpose, which looks like it might be interesting. Yeah, this looks a little bit more like than just a low effort style game. It says it's a puzzle game. I don't fully understand how it works, and it's in VR. I don't know about doing something like that. I guess I'm gonna put VR games on the follow list, so I'll leave it. But I think what might happen at the end of 2019, when we do the follow-ish cleanup, I may very quickly do an episode where I just remove all VR games, or look at all VR games and say, now that it's been a year, does it really make any sense to continue to go through this? I guess also I should be playing something like Token Druid so I can play minions that cost 5 or more, because I haven't really been trying for that at all. GameIndustry.biz has the same article about Square Enix buying 20% of Battalion's 1994 developers Bulkhead. Phil Elliott is going to join the Bulkhead board, so Phil Elliott must have been a Square Enix employee that is pretty high up now. Now partially calling the shots at that game company, Bulkhead. Let's see. Play this. And in the turn, we have a game on Steam called Swords and Shoulders. Shwarmageddon. Shawmageddon? It's a sequel. Doesn't look terrible. It says it's single player, but it also says it's multiplayer real-time strategy. So, what is this developer's first game in that series? This is the developer of Awesome Knots, also, that was rated very positively. And so, Swords and Soldiers 2 HD was rated very positively. So,
Time waits for no one.
yeah, time waits for no one.
Speak your peace.
I guess I'm going to investigate all of these games and see if they are worth playing. See, Awesome Knots may not be one for me because it's a free-to-play game that seems like it's a MOBA. It says it's the world's first 2D MOBA game. But Swords and Soldiers as a series needs some more investigation. So yeah, I'll check that out and I'll just add it to the follow list. I guess what I need to do is be a little bit more careful with my time. I don't want to spend a lot of time thinking about whether a game is going to be on the follow list to then spend a lot of time thinking about whether that game on the same follow list should be on the wish list, to then spend a lot of time to think about whether that game on the wish list should be purchased. So yeah, those work. I want to limit my effort there. I don't want to go crazy on it and just window shop into oblivion, which is certainly what the end of the year Steam wishlist cleanup kind of feels like, is that I'm just window shopping for insanity's sake more than anything else. Keep going. Game of Citra has an article, How Bad Crediting Hurts the Game Industry and Muddles History. You really don't have to go beyond this article title to know, yes, bad crediting in anything hurts an industry and muddles history. If you don't know what bad crediting means, it means when somebody works on a video game for a year, but then they quit working at that company. Rockstar in particular was really bad about that, and because they quit working for that company before the game was published out of spite, the company did not put their name in the credits, which is really, really bad. And it's one of the things that gets fixed in the movie industry, where the Screen Actors Guild requires and has very specific rules about who gets credit and who doesn't, and it comes down to such a stringent point where you can't even not be credited if you don't want to. You have to use a fake name, which used to be Alan Smithy. So there's quite a few movies that were attributed to a director or a writer named Alan Smithy that never existed. They've since stopped using the Alan Smithy moniker, though, and now they use a random assortment of random fake names because too many people learned about the fact that Alan Smithy wasn't a real person. But for the most part, you have to be credited if you worked in any part of the production of a movie. If you're the caterer, you probably have to be credited. And that's good. It does cause the problem, and I think for video games and movies in particular, it does cause the problem where they get really specific rules where one's person, the people's names in the credits must be on the screen for a certain amount of time in a single column, and that just gets kind of crazy because what happens is you'll have at the end of a lot of games where the credits just are crawling extremely slowly, and you could easily have put 2 or 3 columns of names on the screen and just sped it up a little bit. And certainly for movies that air on cable, they shrink the credits down to an incredibly small window in the screen, and they fast forward through it, and it's just yeah, nobody could read that even if they wanted to. The internet fixes these problems a little bit too. in the old days when you couldn't research who worked on a movie, looking at the credits at the end of the movie, it was pretty much a major source of info. And see,
Is someone injured?
if you have worked a lot of jobs, I've worked a decent number of them, credits kind of feel a lot like your job history. And there's this joke that always goes, my resume is just basically a list of places I've figured out I don't want to work at. So if you didn't, for instance, enjoy working in the IT field, and you have this resume where you've worked in the IT field a lot, that's not very helpful for changing careers or going a different direction in your life. But if it weren't for information like that, you have, if it weren't for credits in particular, you would definitely have people who claim to be actors, who claim to be in movies they weren't in, and there not be an easy way to verify any of that. But yeah, I kind of went into more of a rant than actually reading this article. I don't really need to read the article. That will be, if not the second, it will be the third, maybe fourth thing that gets brought up if a video game union gets started in anywhere. It'll be hours, it'll be overtime, it will be healthcare, it will be just general things, support. And then after the fights have been settled as far as the amount of hours a person can work a week, it will definitely be crediting. And then I would like to see the video game industry go for a job pool and job security, extra job security. I guess job security would probably come after hours too, but contract employment and job pools probably should come before crediting, but crediting is a big one too. But I would also argue there's a danger in asking for everything and asking for everything in the wrong order. Like, if that is certainly how bad unions make bad union agreements, is that they start negotiating for something that most of the members aren't as focused about or don't really care about. I would say if a video game union started negotiating and striking for credits, as employees are still very easily let go and forced into crunch, that makes less people feel like the union is competent and really supporting the issues that the game developers actually are concerned about, so less people would be members of the union, or would be active members at least of the union if that's the case. So it is important for them to prioritize and prioritize correctly. +1 attack, +1 attack, attack.
That mill already attacked.
Attack. 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 Keep on attacking in the turn. Let's see. Lemon Lover says, question, I know it says the music must be clicked to be heard. What is that? I've never thrown the music into. I've never thrown the music into, lol. Where Nightbot at the top there says like a song is the current song, and then it says https soundcloud.com/monstercat/pix ... If you click on that, or now it's updated to Falcon Funk, with a different link. If you click on that, you should be able to hear that song. Maybe that song will be as part of a playlist that will continue to play music that is the same one that it's picking from. This is just, it's really just a thing that Nightbot could do, and I set it up. I can't really have music playing except for very specific music that is not copyrightable or is license free. And so if I was to try to make a collection of license free songs that played, you'd hear the same songs over and over again, and they probably wouldn't be that interesting. I also feel like half the audience would not be super hot on hearing music in the background while playing Hearthstone, so it gives people an option to say, hey, if you want to listen to a random song, basically the equivalent of turning on a radio while you're watching a live stream, here's a different way you can do it. You can click here and you can listen to that song. It's mostly there, in all honesty, to put more comments in the chat, because the more comments in the chat that happen during a live stream, the more engagement, thus YouTube recommends the live stream to more people. So it's just a sneaky way that I'm using to try to get more people to see my live streams, in the same way that the titles have the clickbait stupidity in them also, where it's no talk about whatever this thing is that's on the trending tab, where I just pick a random trending tab video.
The light protects me.
There's, I think, a little bit more to it than that. You can do song requests, but you have to be pretty precise about what you type, otherwise it's just gonna search Google and add like a YouTube video that may or may not be a song to the playlist through Nightbot. So if there was a ton of people and they really liked the playlist, we could see people making song requests and really sharing what they like. There's a lot to that. Since I've set up the Nightbot sound thing, I could theoretically change a few settings and personally listen to the music so I would hear it myself, but I'm so busy doing so many other things that it really doesn't make any logical sense. But I did find a way in Open Broadcast Studio to split the desktop audio in a way where I can hear audio playing into my headphones that won't automatically play into the recording stream, which is kind of cool. Let's see. I'm gonna come back to the solo adventures. Thank you to Tragic for helping me get all that gold. We now have a pretty decent amount of gold for the next expansion. Let's see. Lemon Lover says, ah, that was simple. Totally makes sense. Tragic Master says, good games. Thanks for the fun, Rydo. Good luck on your games tonight. Thank you, Tragic Master, again. This is, I think, a good point to break up the recording. It's been an hour and I don't want to go make 2-hour episodes. So let's go ahead and break up this recording and then we'll start another one. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me, you can support me through Patreon or gift me a game off of my Steam wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.